To keep yourself updated, subscribe to Indigo Learn and click the bell icon and download our app OneFin to start learning on the go.
Let us now have an entire summarized approach for the entire standard of SA 505. Alright. So SA 505 external confirmation, let us understand in a summarized manner. 505 external confirmation talks about written direct responses from the third party which the auditor is going to obtain and which is going to serve as an audit evidence to the auditor in drawing his conclusion. This is an audit evidence which we consider it to be very reliable because as per SA 500, when we speak about reliability and we do some kind of comparison between how a reliability is measured, external confirmation stands in all the categories. Like external is more reliable than internal, return is more reliable than oral, directly obtained by the auditor, more reliable than through the management. All of these, if you check, or any confirmation or information requested directly from an independent third party outside the entity would be more reliable. So these are all the reasons that we give for reliability, and all of these qualities are present in the external confirmation, and because of which we call the external confirmation to be one of the reliable audit evidences. We have two types of external confirmation request. One is the positive confirmation, other is the negative confirmation. Positive confirmation tells when the auditor is going to send a confirmation request to the third party is required to reply whether they agree or whether they disagree. So whatever is the situation, they are supposed to reply back. That is called as a positive confirmation request. When you talk about a negative confirmation is where the auditor is supposed to send a confirmation request and the third party is supposed to reply only if they disagree. That means if they agree to the information questioned by the auditor, they need not reply. So their reply will be expected only in the case of disagreement. On the contrary, we have one more kind of a positive confirmation where the information sought is kept to be blank. And this blank has to be filled in by the third party, which we call it to be a blank confirmation, which is very much a part of positive confirmation. After this, we studied about the areas where this kind of request will be done. Very common or very much understandable wherever a third party is involved. It could be lenders, it could be debtors, creditors, inventory lying with the third party. It could be when investments are purchased by the entity or they are acquired by some third party, or maybe it could be when you have your title deeds kept with the others, that is the third parties. All of these, wherever third party is involved, you will seek an external confirmation as an appropriate audit evidence. Then we understood about the procedure, how the evidence will be obtained. First, you have to first decide what is the information that you want to confirm, whether it is a number, whether it is going to be some kind of detail, whether it is a term of a contract, whether it is some kind of condition which you want to clear. So all of this is what you are going to decide on the following criteria. After you decide what information you want to confirm, you will then see the corresponding relevant parties to it. So if the information is about a loan agreement, obviously the confirming party will be the banker. So you will choose the appropriate third party with whom you are going to confirm the information. Then you will design the confirmation request. When you design the confirmation request, two things properly to be kept in mind. One, it has to be properly addressed. Second, it should give a clear indication that it has to be replied back only to the auditor. Then you talk about is, you send the confirmation request to the party that you have identified, and if they don't reply back, you are going to constantly follow up. Now there are certain factors that you are going to consider while designing your audit confirmation request. So which are the factors you will confirm? First, what would be the assertion? What are you going to check? Is it valuation? Is it going to be existence? What is the information that you want to confirm? Which is the assertion? If you believe there is a risk, go in for a positive confirmation rather a negative confirmation instead of a negative confirmation. Then you will design, think about what would be the layout, what would be the presentation. The better you present, the better you can expect the reply. Because if they are sophisticated and if they are properly drafted, the third party is very clear to reply back to you. Then, If there is a previous experience of the auditor where third party has not replied back, then in that case, we would recommend you go in for a positive confirmation request. Then we talk about the method of communication, whether paper, whether through postage, whether you're going to get an electronic mail, what is it? Then we will also consider whether third party is whether it is willing to reply back to the auditor or not. So we will see how is there going to be an encouragement from the management to authorize or to request the third party to reply to the auditor. And finally, we will be choosing those third parties who have the ability to reply back to the auditor. So these are all going to be the factors which we are going to consider while designing our external confirmation. Now, when we send the external confirmation, there are two possibilities on priority. First, you would reply, get the reply. Second, you will not get the reply. So if you get the reply and if the reply is reliable, no problem, accept the audit evidence. Accept the confirmation as the audit evidence. Sufficient, appropriate audit evidence. But suppose you get the information and the information is not reliable. In that case, you cannot accept the information. So you are going to extend the nature, timing and extent of the audit procedures. You will apply additional audit procedures to understand the same, and that means to obtain further audit evidences to confirm the matter. Second, if suppose the third party has not replied back to you, in that case, you will perform alternative audit procedures and obtain the audit evidence. But there comes a third situation, which is a unique one, where external party has not replied back to you and there is no alternative procedure which you can apply. So in that case, what you will do is, you are going to check the impact that this would have on the opinion. Is it an indicator of the possible misstatement? And this would have an impact on the opinion, and you would modify the audit opinion as per SA 705. Alright, now, what will happen if there is going to be an exception? What is exception? The information sought by the auditor or the accounting records of the client is giving an information and the party which has confirmed has given another information. These two are contradicting, and when there is a contradicting audit evidence, we give rise to professional skepticism. So the auditor cannot keep quiet. He has to start questioning, and when we question, we are going to investigate the matter further, and this investigation will indicate if there is going to be a possibility of misstatement. I mean, if there is an indication of this possible misstatement, this investigation will help the auditor to ensure whether there is really a misstatement or there is not a misstatement. Thumb rule, do not come to a conclusion. You first have to investigate the matter, only then draw the conclusion. When you evaluate the audit evidences, that is, evaluate the external confirmation, check the reliability, and if really not reliable, you have to perform additional audit procedure and then only use it for the purpose of your audit. Now, there is one of the special circumstances in case of external confirmation. Sometimes the auditor wants to send a confirmation request, but the management will refuse the auditor to send the confirmation request to the third party. When the management is doing that, do not jump to a conclusion that there is a fraud, management is hiding something. No. Here we will first go and question the management. Why management? Why cannot we give or go and question the third party? So there could be a possibility that the management has a genuine answer for it. I gave you the explanation of a credit balance where you have tried to make the payment but the creditor is not traceable. So in that case, what happens? Even if you want to send the confirmation, you will also not get a reply. So this is a reasonable justification given by whom? The management to the auditor. So in that case, the auditor will move in for alternate audit procedure. But if alternate procedure is also not available, then in that case, we are going to communicate the matter with whom? TCWG, and will check the impact on the audit report and the audit opinion as well. Second, if suppose the management is refusing you and they also do not have any reasonable justification for the same, then you will communicate the matter with whom? The TCWG. Moreover, you would also check the implication on the audit opinion and check if there is a modification required as per SA 705. And the last part about the standard talks about the negative confirmation request. not every time negative confirmation would be desirable, because negative confirmation is always going to be a persuasive audit evidence. That means it is always going to be a less reliable. But there are situations where the auditor could use the negative confirmation. For this, there are 4 conditions to be fulfilled. First, the area where you are seeking it for has a lower risk of material misstatement. That means what? The controls over that area should be effective. So the test of control results have turned out to be very effective. So the auditor believes that the risk of material misstatement would be what? Less in that area. Second, you have more confidence on the accounting records of the entity. So very less chance for you to receive an exception from the client or from the third party. That means what? You have a confirmation, you have a belief in the accounting records. So the expectation from you is what? Lower. So negative confirmation, fair enough. Third, there has not been any experience of the auditor where to that particular party he has requested information and he has failed to reply. So there has not been any kind of incidents where the auditor has a reason to believe that the third party would not reply, because always the third party has replied. And last one would be the population, the nature of the population. That means if all the items in the population that we are going to check are having similar characteristics, they are homogeneous in nature, then in that case, obtaining positive confirmation from all of them would be waste of time. So in that case, we would go in for what? Negative confirmation. Even if we can get few replies, we will be in a position to come to a decision. So if all the 4 conditions are satisfied, we would move in for a negative confirmation. Otherwise, we would stick ourselves only to external confirmation. So with this, we close the entire standard of SA 505. Understand? The knowledge behind this or the content behind the standard is pretty simple. Examination, you have questions coming from here. So according to me, is one of the bonus areas where you could score in the audit paper. So as you have understood, conceptually simple, language-wise simple, and the procedure also is very simple in the standard. So one of the easy standards that you understand here. So with this, we close SA 505 external confirmation, which is one of the important audit evidences which the auditor will obtain. Having understood the entire SA 505 in detail, it is now time for us, like always, to take few questions to develop the confidence in us that we know the topic correctly. So after doing these questions, you will get a confidence that what we have studied and what can come in the examination, we will be in a position to write the answers for it. So with this, let us begin few questions for our practice. So the first question is what we are going to take up for discussion. So the first question that we take up will be, write a short note on external confirmations in audit. It has come for 4 marks and quite a simple answer for us to write. Alright, now, here to write a short note, you basically give the fundamental aspects of what is external confirmation, how reliable is the external confirmation, what could be the types of the external confirmation. Alright, now, we know the meaning of external confirmation. It is a direct written response that we get from whom? The third parties to confirm certain matters, alright, or to give some information or to give certain information, alright. Then, one very important thing, it is always going to be a written confirmation. That means there is no scope for oral confirmations. They will not amount to external confirmation, alright. Then, from whom can we obtain external confirmation? Obviously, those places where a third party involvement would be there. Like you will have the account receivables, account payables, then you have the lenders, then you would be having the inventory lying with the third parties, title documents given with the bankers as a security. So all of these where a third party involvement comes in, that would be the ideal places where we will be obtaining external confirmation as audit evidence. So basically where a third party will be involved in a particular transaction. Then you have third types where we have studied about a positive confirmation and you studied about a negative confirmation. So in positive confirmation, we expect the third party to reply both whether they agree or they disagree. This also includes a blank confirmation where instead of asking them to confirm a matter, we would keep a particular item to be blank. That means we would say that the interest outstanding is dash. So we don't fill up the detail itself. So this detail is required to be filled by whom? The third party. Alright. So this we call it to be a blank confirmation, which is very much a part of a positive confirmation request. So in a positive confirmation, you either confirm or you ask the other party to reply or not to reply whether they agree or they disagree. Sometimes you don't give them the information, you request the information from them by keeping it a blank. So we call it to be a blank confirmation, which very much comes as a part of a positive confirmation. Then you have a negative confirmation where you would request the third party to reply only in the case of disagreement. Alright. So this is the case where disagreement, if it is there, then the third party would be required to reply. We also know that only where we assume that the risk of material misstatement would be low or the suspicion would be less, exception rate the auditor is expecting to be lower, where the population is going to be a kind of monotonous, that is, it is going to be a similar homogeneous population, there we move in for a negative confirmation. Otherwise, we would stick to a positive confirmation request, which we would consider it to be a more reliable confirmation when we compare the two confirmation requests. Very importantly, external confirmation is one of the reliable audit evidence, because when you talk about SA 500, we know written is more reliable than oral. Directly obtained by the auditor is more reliable than obtained through the management. Obtaining externally would be more reliable than obtaining internally. So because it fulfills all the criteria, we would consider it to be one of the reliable audit evidence. So you could begin the answer as external confirmation as covered by SA 505 is a reliable audit evidence. Why would be this reason? What is it would be this. From whom do we obtain could be where third party involvement, and then you could also give the types of confirmation request, positive and negative confirmation. So all of this would be like a short note that you write as a part of external confirmation. The next question that we take up is from May 18, which has appeared for 4 marks. So the question is, N Limited refused to allow you to get a direct confirmation of the outstanding balances of a trade receivable. You want to ensure on the grounds of materiality that at least outstanding above a threshold limit needs to be confirmed and reconciliation is to be carried out before finalizing the audit. If the company does not relent, how would you respond? So here they are telling that N Limited, our client, is refusing us to obtain external confirmation from whom the trade receivables, that means from the debtors, we are not allowed to obtain the confirmation. But you are insisting that at least above a particular amount, okay, we are required to obtain confirmation and we want to reconcile the balance. Only then we will be in a position to end our audit, close the audit and give the opinion. But the company is not accepting the request and how is asking you, the question is asking us, how are we going to respond to the situation? Now, let us understand properly what has happened here is, you are requesting them a confirmation request which they are not giving you. Even then you are requesting that look, up to a particular threshold limit, above that at least we require the confirmation, we need to reconcile and only then we will be in a position to close the audit. Assume you consider the threshold limit to be 50,000. So debtor balance crossing 50,000 rupees, we want to reconfirm. Only then we will be able to give our opinion is what you are requesting. Even then the management is not allowing you to go in for a confirmation. So what will you do as the auditor? We have already studied in SA 505 that when the management is not allowing you to go in for obtaining external confirmation or is refusing you to obtain the external confirmation, then you will first communicate, that means you are going to check what will be the reason as to this refusal. You will first try to understand the reason behind the refusal. If the reason appears to be genuine, maybe they believe that these particular debtors could not be traceable, or maybe the sample that you have chosen, maybe you could not find them out because they have tried in the past. They have a very genuine reason behind it. Or maybe those debtors could be under dispute. So there could be any reason which is quite genuine that they are asking you not to go in for external confirmation, to not obtain the confirmation. So the reason is acceptable, we will perform alternate audit procedure. Or if the reason is not acceptable, if the reason is not going to be acceptable, then what we have to do? So if suppose it is not acceptable, it is not justified, then in that case what we do is, we will check the implication that this could have on our opinion. Okay, now the possibility is, if suppose we are unable to perform alternate audit procedure, or the reason given by the client to us is not at all acceptable by us, in that case, in both these situations, we will go in for modified audit report. That means we will go in to give a modified audit report as per SA 705. And we know whenever we touch SA 705, we have to first communicate this matter to TCWG as per SA 260. So here, understand, when we are not being given the opportunity of going and obtaining the external confirmation, we directly cannot jump to conclusion. We will first evaluate the reason for the same. If the reason happens to be justifiable, very genuine, then we will perform alternate audit procedures and check what would be the extension to the nature, timing and extent of our audit procedure. On the contrary, if suppose the reason given to us by the client is not acceptable, not a genuine one, in that case, we will think what will be the implication of the same on our audit, and we will go in for modification of our report as per SA 705. Even if we are not able to perform alternate audit procedures, we will check the implication and we will modify the report as per SA 705. But we know very well, before modification, we need to communicate this matter with the TCWG as per SA 260. So the appropriate level of management and TCWG, we will communicate first and then go in for modification as per SA 705. So this is what we are required to do as per this question. The next question that we take up is about, during the course of audit of Star Limited, the auditor received some of the confirmation of the balances of trade payables outstanding in the balance sheet through external confirmation by negative confirmation request. In the list of the trade payables of a small balance, except one, old outstanding of rupees 15 lakhs, of whom no confirmation on the credit balance is received. Comment with respect to SA 505. So what is the question telling? During the course of the audit of Star Limited, so our client is Star Limited, the auditor received some of the confirmation of the balances of trade payables outstanding in the balance sheet through external confirmation by negative confirmation request. That means what? When you send a negative confirmation and if you have got a reply, it is basically for what? A disagreement. Correct? So you have got some of the balances replying in the disagreement. In the list of trade payables of small balances, except one old outstanding of rupees 15 lakhs, of whom no confirmation on the credit balance has been received. So what has happened is, there is one of the trade payable balance of rupees 15 lakhs, of whom we have not received a confirmation request. Now when we have not received, the presumption in the negative confirmation is that what? It is accepted, it is agreed. But then here, the auditor has to reconfirm certain things. So the auditor directly cannot come to a conclusion it is correct. So he has to check the reliability of this particular non-reply. How? He will check the materiality of the amount. That means, is the amount material? Obviously, based on the materiality level decided by the auditor, we will check the materiality. Then, looking at that, if you understand it to be a material thing, then you would try to obtain certain other evidences to support the same. Like what you would be doing is, you could check the subsequent cash disbursements. So there could be a possibility that you have made payments. So in the cash transactions and the bank transactions, you could have a cross verification. You could have some other confirmation with the third parties. Okay. Also, you could check other records. This confirmation would come from where? The bank. When the payment is released, you could get it. Then records would be there. Records would be like the goods received note. Okay. These are all the documentation where you would be able to check whether this credit balance was actually there or not there. Because if a no reply from them would be taken as a proper answer, then it is not reliable. Because what happens is, sometimes there could be a possibility that in the negative confirmation request, the next person must have not got only the confirmation request. So then obviously he will not reply. So in this case, non-reply would not be considered to be an acceptable audit evidence, right? So here we should check into the materiality level, and if you believe that materiality level is really high, then in that case we perform the other audit procedures, like we would check the subsequent cash disbursements. This would be checking from the bank transaction. We could get the confirmation from the third parties. We could also get some kind of records checking. Record would be, there would be a corresponding documentation maintained. Like we have the goods received note, where this would be received from the creditor, telling the number of items received, the quantity, etc. So this would also be a supporting audit evidence for us, which would enable us to believe that yes, this credit balance would be reliable one. Okay. So simply a non-reply would not be considered by the auditor to be yes, acceptable. The auditor is required to perform some additional audit procedures and see the materiality of the item and perform the other audit procedure, and only then give the confirmation. So here what we are telling, comment with respect to the standard, yes, okay, he must have obtained for the small balances and all negative confirmation, but that would not be acceptable every time. We would check into what would be the level of the risk of material misstatement, how material would be the item. So all of these things will take into consideration, perform additional audit procedure, and only then draw a conclusion whether the credit balance appearing is correct or not correct. So this is it with SA 505.